unusual couple, you know?
Oh, I don't think that was ever in question.
Doing to see Wanda. Wanda.
Hello and welcome back to the Infinity Saga and Beyond, a Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. I am Jordan Wiegand, and I have my co-host who is helping me walk through Westview, Casey McGeorge.
Oh, how is it going, everybody?
It's going good. We're gonna break down this barrier and get in there. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get into Westview.
Let's hope.
We are talking about episode 7. That's right. We only have 2 left after this. It's called Breaking the Fourth Wall. It was written by Cameron Squires, directed by Matt Shakman, premiered February 19th, 2021 on Disney+. Theme song, as always, by Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez, score by Christophe Beck. And here's the synopsis. Monica plots her return. Wanda navigates unsettling complications, and Vision forms a new alliance. Casey, give me your initial thoughts on this.
Wow. First off, let me back up for a second. I don't know if we've given enough love and credit to the people who are doing the score and the intros for each of these episodes, because not only you're changing the intro music and theme and what it's doing for every episode, which means because it's going by different things, so you have to change basically everything about it. And especially this one I thought was really done really well. And I think we've just mentioned that it's the same people doing different ones, but I don't think we've given them enough love, at least on this podcast, to say how good of a job they're doing.
Yeah, they're doing great. I specifically really like the 50s through 70s theme songs of them. This one was kind of like kind of shows the difference that we have with modern television, I guess, with no lyrics really in this one, just the music. Very similar to Modern Family, and the actual like bits of, I don't know if you've ever seen the show, but where it's showing like Wanda written on everything, very similar to the show Happy Endings that was on ABC for 3 seasons, and actually the Russo brothers directed that show for a bit. So
I don't know how accurate it is. I got Office vibes from it.
I could see that too. But like if you look up the Happy Endings theme song, it is a lot of that, where like stuff in different fonts, or like road signs with Wanda, but it'll say like happy, and just kind of flipping through them all. So that's a very niche show too. So I'm wondering if they did that as some sort of throw to the Russos as well.
But other than that, we got some questions answered, and then obviously they left us with more questions. And then I said they trolled us last week, and then they trolled us for trolling us this week, and then they trolled us even more this week because they knew everybody's waiting for something to happen that Marvel has made pretty much their standard, and everybody was waiting on it. But I think I saw on IGN they gave it a 7. I need to talk to that guy. This might be my favorite episode of the group so far.
Yeah, for me, this is an increase from last episode for sure. I think I see where most people are complaining is with it sticking with the sitcom bits for this episode, but I really think this was clever in the sense of even the title, Breaking the Fourth Wall. That isn't just about them talking to the cameras and breaking the fourth wall. That's also, they're trying to break through a wall, to get to Westview, to try to get in. So it's got these multiple levels that this kind of works on as well. But I really enjoyed this one. I love the ending. This is one of the top, for me, MCU moments, I think, of almost all time. I really enjoyed the end when we get there. We'll discuss it a little deeper. So yeah, I guess let's get into it, because this was something that is very jam-packed episode here. We start out with Wanda in bed, and then she starts, talking to the camera crew, like The Office or Modern Family, and she kind of says about how she, expanded the realities, and I love that you do the cutaway like you would in like Arrested Development or Modern Family or The Office, where it cuts to it expanding and people getting trapped in there, but it's almost played for laughs, and the music accompanying it is kind of that it feels very Arrested Development to me, actually.
I don't know what I expected.
Right.
I like the fact that she finally admitted one of the questions that got answered was, this is a reality that she created.
Yeah.
Where
as
she
far
says,
as she knows.
Yeah, well, as far as she knows, but she came out and says, when you have to expand the reality that you created and blah blah blah. So that kind of, and obviously they may be trolling us or giving us some info, but not the whole story. But at least now it's kind of, we've all been trying to figure out it, and we kind of figured that it was something she created, Westview and what so forth. But now she's even come out just flat out and said it, so.
And I wonder if she's actually correct. I guess we'll figure that out, because I do have some stuff I want to bring up actually when we get to the end again. But the kids come rushing in and they say that their game, something's wrong with their game, and we cut to that and we see it changing from whichever controller it was originally to a GameCube controller to an Atari controller to Uno cards.
Hey,
later on,
Uno is a great game, and Uno can start some fistfights in the wrong situations.
And then, eventually we do see them with Wii remotes as well later in the episode. So I'm not sure. I didn't catch originally what they had before it changed to the GameCube controller, but
it looked like it might have just been like a generic
that's what I was
modern
thinking.
Controller, because, anybody who plays games out there right now knows a PlayStation controller or a Sony controller is vastly different from an Xbox controller, which is vastly different from a Nintendo one. So I guess maybe they didn't want to pay, do anything or get permission for the product placement or whatever, or work anything out like that. So they just kind of went with a generic type of controller just to. Right. But even though like the Nintendo 64 is that's a pretty distinctive controller. So is the Atari one. So, but.
So that's the first kind of sign where we've seen that since she expanded everything, that
something's wrong.
Something is going wrong. It's kind of on the fritz, right? It's not going so well. And then when she's going to pour milk in her cereal, the milk jug turns, different styles as well. At one point, it is like a, just your usual milk carton, and then kind of like a.
Well, it started out with like a more modern,
looking one
bottle, and then it went to the carton. Then it went like to the old glass bottle,
50s glass,
drop off. Here's a question. There was a picture on the milk carton, right? Do we have any thought or idea of who that is or who that could be? Because
I was thinking that too. I'm actually thinking there's been set photos as well of missing kid posters over Westview, like on flyers and stuff. And I'm wondering if that's part of back when kids were not, actively being seen walking around. But yeah, I'm not certain on that. We couldn't get a good enough look. They look like a blonde boy. I couldn't really tell anything else.
Yeah, and then like her hand was over the portion where it would give the info of like, the guy, his name and height, weight, age, blah blah blah, all this other stuff. But as we talked about before, I mean, obviously that's done that's done for a reason. And I'm sure after the next couple of episodes, when we go back and possibly rewatch this, we'll be able to, it'll make more sense. But I saw that face on the milk carton and I was like, okay, who is this child and why is he on this milk carton?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to play in. Like I said, it could just be a reference to something else that was set dressing, but I don't know. It is, also of the era of the milk carton was, back when they would put missing children on them. Nowadays,
80s, yeah.
not so much. Yeah. So that's when we get the theme song, which we kind of talked about already. And then we get to, that's where she says, she doesn't know what's wrong. It could just be a case of the Mondays. You know what? I think I got to give props again to Elizabeth Olsen. She plays, have you watched Modern Family?
I've seen a few episodes. That's one of those, like when you're in a hotel and you're flipping through the channels and, you get like TBS or USA. Yeah. And usually they put on a block of them for like 2 or 3 hours at a time. It usually in the evening or something. There's not much on. It just recently came up on Hulu, I think.
And Peacock. Yeah, it's on both of them, actually.
From season 1. So it's probably something I'll start here soon. But I mean, I've just seen random episodes throughout the series. I saw that Julie Bowen, the actress who plays, was it Claire, the main character on Modern Family, one of the she I guess she got tagged in a lot of posts, and she gave a lot of credit because she said Elizabeth Olsen did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And then the set dressing, like she said, even down to like the chairs and some other things were like right from her show. So
yes, and that's what I was trying to bring up here. Julie Bowen, by the way, she's from Baltimore, so represent. But anyway, Julie Bowen playing Claire Dunphy. Elizabeth Olsen did like a really good Claire from Modern Family. When she's talking to the boys and when she's kind of like going crazy a bit about, some of these things going on.
I think I saw on the subreddit, someone said her mannerisms were like really on point.
They were. I felt like I was watching Julie Bowen. It's just the whole time I was like, man, Elizabeth Olsen's been so great just doing these different eras. And another person I got to give props to with these different eras, almost everybody, but Paul Bettany was really great as Vision again, and Catherine Hahn for other reasons that we'll get into, but also she fit right into this. She's talked to the camera before on Parks and Rec. She's been on these type of shows, but she can ham it up in the 50s style. She can be this, kind of nosy neighbor in the 2000s. She can play any role. And she's been fantastic as well.
Real quick, back to Julie Bowen. I don't know if you saw a couple of days ago, Adam Sandler, because it was the anniversary of Happy Gilmore.
Right.
So Adam Sandler came out. It's a great video if you go on and watch it. He tried to recreate the Happy Gilmore swing, and he sent a shout out to Shooter McGavin. So the guy who plays Shooter McGavin made another little video back at him. And that guy actually goes around to like minor league baseball parks and kind of he's living up the Shooter McGavin thing. But Julie Bowen played, Adam Sandler's love interest in Happy Gilmore. And there's been talk of maybe like doing not a reboot, but like maybe a sequel set a little further down the road, especially now that their videos have garnered some attention. I would love to see that.
It would be interesting. You never know how these spin-offs or sequels years later.
It's Adam Sandler, so he'll probably put it straight to Netflix.
That's right. He's got that deal with them.
He makes a whole bunch of crappy movies for Netflix anyway. So
Right.
look, Adam Sandler, guy who plays Shooter McGavin, Julie Bowen. Let's get back out there. Let's make another Happy Gilmore, and let's go forth with that.
I will say though, like long-awaited sequels. I was really looking forward to Ghostbusters Afterlife last year, but it got pushed to this year, and it's probably gonna get pushed again. But
Yeah, same.
so yeah, back to
Candyman was one.
there you go. Yeah, I know you were looking forward to that before everything went to crap as well. Back to here though. So outside the hex. So this is our first bit outside the hex after the theme song. Hayward says it's go time. You know, one of his people says they're lucky that she stopped expanding it when she did. But Hayward's ready to press on. We also learn that the broadcast is no longer happening. So now it's like, who is all this for, right? This talking to the camera and the theme song. Who is all that for? Do you have any ideas on why they would still be living it in there, but now there's no more broadcast?
I saw something on the subreddit that initially it took Darcy to even find the broadcast in the first place. Like they weren't looking for it, they didn't know. And around the time of Modern Family, sometime in the mid aughts, early to mid aughts, I can't believe I'm even saying aughts, in early to mid 2000s or so, is when all of the broadcast signals changed to an HD signal.
That's right. You needed a different type of antenna.
Yeah. So if you had an older TV, you need to get like a free converter box from the cable company or whatever. And then eventually they just, because the TVs they were producing didn't need them, so they stopped, giving them out or making the converter boxes. Maybe it's a situation of they don't have the right equipment because Dr. Darcy is not there to let them know, hey, to kind of get that going. That's not my theory. That was something someone else had put out on the subreddit. So could be. Or maybe someone just wanted the broadcast to stop.
Yeah, and I think that's where we have to get some closure in these upcoming episodes here about all the mechanics of how this works and who was really behind showing this to everybody, I guess. We also then find Vision in the hex as it gets back to the hex now that he's waking up and he's healed. He's alive. The carnival
he's
people.
in the middle of a circus.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the circus from last episode. The carnival people tell him to that he has to go with Darcy, who is the escape artist, and
they think he's one of the new clowns.
Yes, they think he's because of his getup. But also, I want to point out the strongman guy, the main guy here, is somebody from all of the carnival people are really from Sword, but this guy I think was definitely featured in episode 4. I gotta go back and check who it is, but he looked really familiar. And I think somebody said that he was from episode 4. So I might have to go back and watch that one again and see exactly where he is. But he's kind of like the one in charge right now of the carnival. And I love this exchange between Vision and Darcy where he asks if she remembers him and that they had a moment, they locked eyes, and she kind of takes it as a romantic, he's coming on to her type of thing. But he remembers, so he did see her. I was always kind of wondering if he had seen her while he was kind of struggling to stay alive last episode. But
also to note too, he kind of looked at his shoulder and his arm where a big hunk of himself or his body or whatever ended up going back through the hex as he was coming apart, trying to get out of it. So at least he was kind of holding his shoulder, holding his arm. So at least he's aware of what happened.
Yes, he remembers coming apart. He remembers seeing Darcy, and she kind of walks away from him, and it kind of cuts off there, and we'll come back to them in a bit. But I had a feeling. Did we talk about this last week? If Darcy was going to get woken up, or that she was going to have to somehow explain to Vision? I think we mentioned something like that as a theory.
So. I know I talked about I was hoping she would be a waitress. You said she would probably. You brought up she'd probably be in the circus, so you were 100% correct.
Yeah.
I was horribly wrong as usual. I think we wondered if she would have any memory of it, or if she would just be like another random citizen on the inside that didn't kind of have any info about what had previously happened.
Right, and it was definitely she didn't remember, but I didn't realize that pretty much right away. I thought maybe Vision would have to get reset at home, but he pretty much woke up, was immediately introduced with her, and later on wakes her up, where which was good. It was good pacing for that storyline to not have that drag out and have her be unaware for too long.
Best line of the second best line of the episode. We will get to the best one later down the road. Fine, I'll go out with you, but I'm ordering the lobster.
Yeah. So we cut back to Wanda's house, and this is where Agnes comes over to grab the boys and take them over her house while to give Wanda some time on her own.
She just has an uncanny ability to come over at the picture-perfect right times, doesn't she?
She does. And before, we kind of thought maybe that was Wanda influencing that, but with the revelation at the end, I don't think that's the case.
All
along, yeah. Oh, man, I need that song. They released the soundtracks for those. I need to get that song. This is when the house objects start kind of glitching as well, and she, like the TV turns into like a 50s TV, and the chair turns back to like the 70s chair, and she fixes all that.
The dining room table, the walls of the house starts glitching, where you can kind of see out of them, the wallpaper. And I think during one of the interviews, she's starting to question her sanity. It looks like.
Mm-hmm. And before we keep going down there, it's just two quick things, because then we get back to that, and she has a talking head that is really interesting. But outside the Hex, that's where Monica and Jimmy arrive to their drop zone, and they're brought a space cruiser. I'm not thinking we've met the aerospace engineer, because it sounds like Teyonah Paris said that it was going to be a big shock of who it is, or people will be really happy to see who it is, and none of these people did that, so I don't think we've met them yet.
I thought maybe I just saw it wrong. So remember when Hayward was talking to a young woman earlier in the episode about getting something ready?
Yes, yeah.
And I'm probably just way wrong. I thought it was the same girl or same woman from there.
Oh, no, it's not.
And then especially when she brought up, Rambo brought up thanks for being loyal. It just, like I said, it was later in the evening. I was face first.
They did look similar, though, I think, actually.
I was in like a taco coma yesterday, so I don't know, maybe, but I thought it was the same one, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
And then we get Vision waking Darcy up, and the strong man tells them that they can't go. Darcy punches them, and then they steal a funnel cake van and take off.
Dude, we might have to stop somewhere so I get some funnel cakes. Like, that's just... I'm down for that. Like, I was delivering my mail on my route today, and I happened to be in front of a house that was loading up a bunch of Girl Scout cookies. So guess what this fat guy did?
You bought some Girl Scout cookies?
Bought me some Girl Scout cookies, and I'm happy now.
What's your go-to?
I like the Samoas.
Oh, me too.
So I got the Samoas. I got a box of Thin Mints. I got a box of the lemon ones and a box of the s'mores.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just love the Samoas. When it's not Girl Scout season, I'll go get the Keebler version if I need to. Then we get back to Wanda's house. This is where so like the first bit was just the TV and the armchair. Now it's the walls, it's the light fixture, it's everything. And this is where we even see the stork again from the 70s episode.
Yeah.
She talks to the camera. She doesn't understand why she can't fix it. She doesn't understand why it's happening. And the camera guy talks back, right? The guy that would usually ask the questions if you were in one of these situations says, do you think that this is something you think you deserve or something like that? And she questions this. She says, you're not supposed to talk.
Yeah, she kind of freaks out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So answer me this. From having watched very little Modern Family and having never watched The Office, was the person behind did the person behind the camera talk in those at all very much?
Modern Family, never, I don't think. The Office, they would talk sometimes. And by sometimes, I mean pretty much the last season was the only time I think that happened.
Okay, now answer me this as well. I'm sorry. I know it came out later in The Office. The reason why they had the cameras crew was because they were doing a documentary because someone had killed themselves.
That's not why.
I thought that's what they said. I thought that was what it came out.
No. When they the reason why they're doing it is just that they were doing some sort of documentary on this paper company, and I guess they chose Dunder Mifflin. And that was really it.
Why was there a camera crew in Modern Family?
That they never explain. It's almost like Parks and Rec, where they never explain it. Now, originally in early drafts of Modern Family, it was supposed to be a student studying abroad, I think, who was working on making a documentary while he was living with the family and stuff like that. But they cut that character out and streamlined it, and it was just kind of the style. They never, to my knowledge, I haven't finished watching Modern Family, but to my knowledge, that was never acknowledged. Same way with Parks and Rec, it was kind of just the style to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember watching Parks and Rec a few times. I've watched that whole series a few times. I don't ever remember him showing or having a reason, in that one. But
The Office definitely cared more about it. Like they would only take certain shots if they could realistically do those shots, while some of the other shows with this format would kind of, fudge it if they needed to.
But yeah, Wanda seemed to freak out when the interviewer there kind of made that comment and talked, and it was, you're not supposed to say anything. Like I kind of at this moment I kind of got the gist that like Wanda's really coming apart at the seams, because okay, so there's this interview thing going on, whatever, and then she's just like, she loses it when that person talks and they're not supposed to. And there's a lot of things happening that apparently are not supposed to. So
this is where we get the commercial, which
it came early this episode, didn't it?
It did, and it was really good. This was a good commercial in the sense of this is exactly what you see watching TV. I know this is so. If you listen to us from other countries, this is pretty much how some of our commercials are. And I remember I had a friend from Australia from when I worked in Disney, and he was amazed at how much medication commercials are on, because apparently they can't show those in Australia. And he finds it bizarre that they would also say, like, ask your doctor about this medication, which is not usually something that you would do over in Australia. Usually they would just
recommend,
you go to the doctor and they recommend the medication.
He probably also freaked out from having to list the 8 million side effects for every medication.
Yes, those things are, and I love the reference to it in this commercial. But for people that, if you listen to us outside of America, this is a real thing. Yes, the side effects are kind of this absurd as well, but even with the depression, but you may also get more depression as a side effect. Like there's literally those type of things where it'll be some sort of medication for something that you think is pretty innocuous, and then it'll say, side effects may include death or
thoughts that could
depression.
lead to things that could lead to suicidal thoughts, and you're like, wait
Exactly.
a minute, like
I think they'll just handle the stomach issues. Thank you.
I think, and this is popular one, anal leakage was one that would pop up for certain things, and you're like, wait a minute, dude, like I don't need stuff leaking out my bum, man. Like, come
I'm
on.
pretty sure I saw a commercial for that, and it was supposed to be helping you with anal leakage as well. So it was kind of
Or
like,
I think one of them was for a fat blocker.
yeah,
I think it's like Xenical or something. It's something that help people lose weight. But part of it, because it would just wreak havoc on your system, and it could cause you to have some bad times coming out that part. And it's like, man, I'd rather just be fat than
been having all these issues. Yeah.
Yeah, especially issues like that, man. Like, I might be thinner, but I'm not gonna have any friends because everybody's gonna be like, I can't go over nobody's house. They're gonna be worried I'm leaking all over the couch, man.
But yeah, so Nexus is the name of the brand for this, and yes, we do have 2 references to Nexus in Marvel Comics, both of which are pretty important. So for the first example, there's one called Nexus of All Realities. The Nexus is a cross-dimensional gateway which provides a pathway to any and all possible realities. This includes realities between realities. It is unknown whether it is created by some being or just if it is the one place in the entire multiverse where all realities naturally intersect.
Wait. Whoa. How are there realities in between other realities? Like,
I guess it'd be kind of like this
multiverses,
one, right?
But like,
This kind of fake reality that's in Westview, but it's still in the regular reality.
that gives me what's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio there? Like, you're in a dream within a dream within a dream, like, dude.
Inception, yeah.
Yeah, that's giving me Inception like vibes. Like, you said, realities and or other realities or realities in between realities. I wish you could see my face because I just was like, wait a minute, realities in between realities, like.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's interesting about this is where it says where it's one place in the entire multiverse where all realities naturally intersect, and I'm thinking that might be someplace we see later in the episode. I'll come back to that. The other Nexus thing here is Nexus beings, okay? Nexus beings are rare individual entities with the ability to affect probability and thus the future, thereby altering the flow of the universal time stream. These beings, each referred to as a nexus, act as the keystones of the multiverse and are crucial to its ultimate coherence and stability.
So basically, these things would be really involved, or Doctor Strange would have a lot to do with these peoples and things.
Yes, yep. And Scarlet Witch in the comics is a representative of a nexus. So it seems like in the comics she is one of these as well. So maybe it's a bit of both of these 2 things here combined.
Okay, I got most of the gist of the commercial where it's talking about. I got basically that the commercial was talking about Wanda and what was going on with her, but I had no knowledge of the Nexus thing, and I was like, well, I could look it up right now, or I can just wait till tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure if I ask Jordan, he will let me know. So I made the right choice.
Okay, so are we good about the commercial? We good to move on from there?
Yeah. Come on, I think you gave a pretty good refresher or info on Nexus, which I had no knowledge about, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a theory about it that we'll get to in a second here too. So then we're at Agnes's house. I do want to point out we see the bunny here, Scratchy, right, or Scratch, whatever his name was.
Yeah, what is that? What? Hold on. What is that rabbit's name? Because I'm kind of digging the rabbit, but I don't know.
Senor Scratchy.
Senor Scratchy. I'm digging the name.
And the boys are there. They're petting the bunny rabbit. Billy says he likes it there because it's quiet, and then he also says, pretty creepy here, that Agnes is quiet on the inside. What did you take that to mean? Because the way I took it to mean is that she doesn't have a second person in her like everybody else does, right? Like she doesn't have anything on the underneath like other people do, and that she pretended to have last episode.
Yeah, I pretty much that it's just her. So there's like no one screaming to get out or no one wondering what's going on. Or maybe I thought initially maybe he was blocked from viewing her, maybe for some reason.
Yeah, that's what some people were thinking, is that it could be like like he couldn't read her mind. But I don't think he can really read minds. I don't think we've ever established that really. So I just think it might be that there's not that second person in there, like Norm having, Abalash in there from when he was, and kind of having like a second person. Like she's at peace because she is herself. And the way that she gives him a look makes me think she's kind of worried about him catching on to this.
She seemed to be really good with the kids, though.
I guess we'll see what she really did with it.
Or
the
maybe
TV show Agnes, yes.
Yeah. She seemed to be really good with the kids, or maybe Senior Scratchy just kind of calmed them down.
I like when they asked about her, is their mom going to be okay? And she says yes, but then she's, talking to the camera and she's like, what are you going to say to them? That your mom's going like crazy?
That your mom's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Yes, yeah. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
I for whatever reason, I was listening to another podcast and it came into my head earlier this week. I saw the rabbit and I like it, but I don't trust the rabbit. So now all I got in my head is Elmer Fudd from one of the old Looney Tunes cartoons saying, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit. But
it's wabbit season, right?
It just, yeah.
Then we get back outside the hex. This is Monica ready to go in now. And we have the person saying she's going to sail right through, right? This is their top space cruiser.
And as soon as I said that, I said, she is not making it through.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I thought it was just going to be a head-on collision.
Yeah, I thought she'd still get through, but I thought, it would take a little bit more to get in there. But she doesn't, right? It slams into it. Then it starts kind of going up in the air where it's, kind of like a wheelie almost, right? With the back two wheels. And it starts, the one person thinks it's disintegrating. Jimmy realizes that no, it's not disintegrating. It's, rewriting itself, right? To fit what would be the aesthetic. And when Monica gets out of there and the truck goes flying up in the air, or the space cruiser goes up flying up the air, it looks like the front half of like a truck, and the back half is still that space cruiser.
And then at that point, so I'm watching this, and as soon as they were like, oh, this is our best space cruiser, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I thought to myself, she's not, I thought it was going to be a head-on collision. She's not going through that hex. She makes it out, like you said, it's a half a space truck, half like a Toyota cab. And then, she looks over, and I was like, oh, she's going to run through that thing. And Jimmy said the same thing at the same time. He's like, no. So he had a thought at the same exact time I did.
Yeah, it was good that Jimmy was able to kind of figure that out. Glad he was able to, have some input on that. And then Monica takes off her helmet and thinks that she can go through. She's going to make it through. She decides to run in there. And we get a really cool kind of action scene here where she's running in there and kind kind of like almost like she's splitting, right? Like you kind of see her in the 70s look and like the 50s look and other looks of Monica kind of like in the peripheral, and then Monica in the spacesuit going through. We hear lots of clips from, I believe most of these are from Captain Marvel, especially the last one where, if, when your mom was lucky when they were handing out children, she's got like, the best one or the bravest one. And she makes it through there. Her eyes are like turning blue. It looks super cool.
It is, but I thought maybe it was just too blue for me, but maybe I'm just being a little picky. But I kind of get the gist of what they were going for. So, and honestly, there hasn't been very many things, if any, on the show that I've looked at and just been like, I wasn't really a fan of that. So maybe that was just something in me coming out like, you got to be picky about something.
Yeah, it was blue. But yeah, I thought it looked cool, especially when they, when she makes it through, and then she kind of takes off the spacesuit. She starts running towards Monica to Wanda's house. Before we get there, though, we get back to Darcy and Vision.
Well, there's also did you talk about what she sees?
You mean like the power lines and all that kind of,
yeah.
She definitely sees some of the energy and stuff before her eyes turn back normal. It looked this must be part of her powers that I guess she's getting it here, or she's getting more powers going through this last time, or maybe that's why she was able to survive after all.
So, like, as I was watching this and, I saw like she had this weird vision and, you could see like power emanating off the power lines and stuff. I immediately thought of you because I was like, okay, pretty much this is probably the start of her becoming Photon.
Yeah, I would agree. So then we get to Darcy and Vision. They're driving. They're getting stuck at so many red lights. They get construction workers. They get children crossing the street with their parents. Eventually, Vision has enough, and he just phases through the van and flies away. But his take on this is that Wanda is stopping him from getting there, which I think we know by now is not the case. But also earlier in the episode, Wanda asks the boys if they've seen Vision. They said, no, should we go look for him? They seem worried. And she says, no, if he would want to be here, he would be here. So it doesn't seem like something she would be preventing. I think we do know now that Agatha is probably the one putting those blocks in front of him and stopping him from getting there because for whatever reason, she has something that she needs from Wanda.
Well, not only that, but throughout this, we get Vision talking to... Vision is talking to the camera crew at various points. And we also get... I don't really know if they... I don't know how well you could sum it up, but basically Darcy explains what has happened.
Yes.
From the time that... Basically how Vision died and what happened. And like pretty much she's explained everything leading up to that point. So he kind of gets the gist now that at some point he died. Wanda brought him back, or actually Wanda killed him because she had to get the stone, but then Thanos had to rewind time. Thanos killed him. Wanda watched it, so I think he maybe kind of understands how she feels and why she might be so protective of him now. Because basically, we kind of got the gist that she was lonely and everything was taken away from her. And then, she's got to explain Thanos and decimating half the population and the snap and the blip and all this. How do you even sum that up in 20 minutes to a dude, and even explaining what he was,
Yeah. It pretty interesting kind of getting the rundown from Darcy about Vision's history and him. One, also, I want to go back and laugh at the, Vision saying he has questions for Darcy. She says she has answers. Then when they get in the van, he says, "Are my kids okay?" She's like, "I have no idea," right? And then asks another question, and she doesn't know the answer to that one either. So he was kind of coming up blank there for a bit, but he gets a lot of answers here with, you're from Jarvis, your body is from Ultron, you died. Wanda had to bring you back. Then she had to. No, Wanda was the one that had to kill you.
Yeah, Wanda
Thanos brought you back. Then she had to watch you die again, and stuff like that. That he now kind of sees where she's coming from, and as he says, for him, he doesn't remember any of this, but for her, it was only been a few weeks since all this happened. Because even though it's 5 years gap, Wanda was dusted. So, for her, it really is just a few weeks ago that she experienced all of this. And she lost, somebody that was very important to her. And even just a few years ago, she lost Pietro. So, for her, it's been such a wild ride. And Vision's starting to see where she's coming from. But he still wants to, help the people that are trapped in this town. And I think maybe he might be the only one that can stop this.
And I know we'll never be able to compute this, but imagine your Vision and you're being told that, So now you have to go back a week where Agnes tells him you were dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what's going on. He sees time changing in front of him. He tries to get out of the hex. He sees his body be ripped apart, and then all this is blown on him. Yeah, you've been dead and alive 2 or 3 times, and the woman you love, and she told him the love that you have is real, So, and then you can kind of see his demeanor totally change there, where he's realizing maybe I've been kind of hard on this. I still have something I need to do, but now he's, like I said, he's fully understanding why Wanda might be in the frame of mind that she's in.
Yeah. So then we, that's it for Vision that we see for this episode. We cut to.
Well, I like too the fact that, like I said, he's sitting there doing the interview and he takes off the mic and he puts his head on the microphone, and then at some point, I thought the next you see the circus walk by and elephants and stuff, which we didn't get. Might have been great if they did. And then all of a sudden he's just like, you know what, I can go through stuff, and he just flies away. What, I'm just done.
Yeah. I figured he was gonna have to do something like that. Darcy's like, I'll just catch up to you later. And you know what? For her, the roads might open up pretty quickly because there's no longer a need to stop Vision from getting there. So I wonder how that'll work. So we get to Monica running to Wanda's house. Wanda's doing something inside. I think she's eating or something. And, Monica runs in. She tries to explain what's going on, right? She's trying to explain that this is all about Vision, that Hayward wants Vision, and trying to, reason with her that way. Wanda immediately is on the defense, right? She's asking how she got in. She's asking what's she doing here. She's asking why she did, why she brought Pietro. She thinks it's her that brought Pietro in, and she kind of throws her up in the air. And when she's, trying to drop her, Monica lands with the hero pose. She's using her power somehow. She's able to land and have it not affect her. And that was just a really cool moment. And then she immediately turns into, because, Wanda calls her a liar. She immediately turns that back on Wanda and says, the only lies I told were the ones you put in my mouth, right? Like when she was being Geraldine.
And then we kind of get a little show off between the two of them, where Wanda's trying to blow her back or whatever, and at some point she kind of does her own little what is it? Deadpool says a superhero landing.
Yeah.
And then Wanda has this look on her face like, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Right. And then it seems like Monica's starting to break through here, right? She's starting to get through where Wanda's questioning stuff, and then we see Agnes looking out the window. Agnes comes out and pretty much pulls Wanda away, gets her away from Monica, and at that point it's this is not the first time this has been like this. There's been times where Wanda looks like she's on the verge of getting a breakthrough of something, and then, something else happening that disrupts it. And I believe, I'm trying to think of what it was, but I'm pretty sure Agnes was part of that as well, if I can remember that. Where you get this weird thing where you're like, if she wasn't just interrupted right there, she probably would have had the breakthrough. Oh, I know what it was that we now realize is Agnes, is when, it seems like in the 80s episode, Vision is breaking through to Monica, and that's when you get the knock at the door of being Petra, which is now being shown as being controlled by Agnes. It's like every time somebody is almost getting through to Wanda to break this, Agnes is there to make sure it keeps going. What's her ultimate goal? We have no idea. But, Wanda goes over to Agnes's house and she sees the cicada on the window. She sees the rabbit. It's quiet. Yo Gabba Gabba's on TV, but the boys are nowhere to be seen or heard.
But their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yes. Yeah, even their food is there. She asks where the twins are. Agnes says they must be downstairs playing in the basement. Wanda goes to check, and she keeps going deeper in the basement. At this point, I'd probably think that my kids are not playing in this creepy-ass basement. But we start seeing like lots of purple and kind of like tree roots or vines type of look. Then we get a magical book. And then Agnes reveals that she is Agatha Harkness, as most people assumed. And we get the killer song, It's Been Agatha All Along, which we see the perspective of her
manipulating things from various different perspectives. Two things about the song. One, as the kids say, that song slaps. Two, I was just looking on the subreddit not so long ago. Apparently, Catherine Hahn sings on the song.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, I brought up a few episodes back that I thought Catherine Hahn was like a perfect casting for that part. And whenever she is in there, she almost steals the scenes, and she's doing a fantastic job. And just her laugh and that cackle, and seeing how she was able to, seeing another perspective of her manipulating these scenes is amazing. And as I was listening to Fake Doctors, Real Friends earlier this week, one of the things they brought up until before this episode, one of the people on there said, if you go back and watch it from the beginning with everything you know now, it's a completely different series. I'm really interested to see, if I go back, what I'll be able to see from some of these things that maybe I didn't notice before because I didn't know that's where I was supposed to be looking.
It'll be interesting for sure to rewatch this once all of the episodes are up. Because I have to work this into my, annual rewatch of the MCU at this point. So, yeah, I'll binge watch this a few times, throughout my life. Good thing is it's only 9 episodes.
The only bad thing is she killed Sparky too.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm assuming she also brought Sparky to life as well, right?
Yeah, Sparky may not have been real in the first place, but I was bopping along with the song until she brought up and I killed Sparky too. And
that was a popular theory people had too, is that she killed Sparky to try to get Wanda to bring Sparky back to life.
And I was just listening to it and I was like, we were going good until you had to bring that up. Now I don't know if I like you anymore. And then I looked at her again. I was like, I can't stay mad at you.
So we get the credits right after that. And then after the credits, we get Monica looking in the cellar of Agnes's house, and she sees the purple vines
Well,
roots type
she
thing.
tries to go in like a window in the garage door or
Yes.
something first, and then she sees it. And as I'm watching this and I see where the cellar's framed, I'm like, okay, she's gonna end up having to go in that basement. Like the way it was framed, it was picture perfect for anybody who's watching this who kind of can get the gist of it. I was like, yeah, I thought she was gonna go in the basement and then come like face to face with those two.
No, we get Pietro saying snoopers like to snoop, or snoopers gonna snoop, something like that. And that was it. So I'm assuming at this point we probably have maybe Pietro have captured Monica, or some sort of confrontation is going to be going on there. And we have Wanda down there. Where do you think the kids are? Some people think they're the rabbit and the cicada, but I want to point out we saw Senor Scratchy earlier, and we see him again here. So I don't think that's the boys, unless if there's now two rabbits.
I saw a theory somewhere that said the fly actually probably holds a big significance there, because one of the villains actually starts off as a fly, or has something to do with the fly from the comics. Once again, I don't know much about the comics. I might have to stick with this weird theory that maybe the kids weren't real.
Maybe.
Even though I know that makes no sense, because we kind of saw her give birth to those children, but we also saw that she went from just being pregnant to giving birth to in like 2 days, and they've aged from infants to
10
preteen hormonal kids in like 2 or 3 days. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the kids are somehow going to have to make it through this, because I do think they're going to want to use them in Young Avengers and such. But we'll see. I don't actually know. I would hope so, because they actually cast really great actors for those kids. So I think that they could do some good stuff. It's always a mix when you're hiring kids, but I thought they were very great.
Because that's one of the reasons, and I'm sure you know this, that Walt on Lost ended up having to go, because he hit like a growth spurt and went through puberty in between filming, and they couldn't use him anymore. So like he went from like a kid to almost a full grown man. So that not that caused some issues, but that caused some creative issues, because they had to figure out what to do.
Yeah, so they had him captured by the others at the end of season 1 or so. Then you don't see him again till the end of season 2, pretty much, because of his growth spurt.
And then I don't think you see him again till like the end of the series or something.
No, you do.
I mean, I haven't seen all of it, so I don't know. But I know his appearances were very far between.
Now also, so here's what I was thinking. That room where it has the book, Agatha, I guess we can say now, shuts the door on keeping Wanda in there. It looks like there might be other doors or other, the way the room is circular. I was wondering if this might be the nexus of all reality is here. Maybe that's how she brought Pietro here from another multiverse, because she's in the nexus there and able to bring him through and then take just control of him to where he doesn't really know what he's doing.
That makes more sense than I thought. I thought those tunnels just all led to different places in town.
It could do that too, I guess.
But I had no knowledge of the nexus before that.
Right.
Thought, so
that's what just my thought on it real quick is, because I think that would be a way to tie all of that stuff together. I'm probably wrong. We'll see how that goes.
I saw on the subreddit someone said the book in Doctor Strange, there was a book that was really similar, if not the same book, somewhere in it. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Why am I doing that? I can use my phone. It was I can't remember exactly what it was, but they said something about they said, oh, okay. So real quick, I'm on the subreddit right now. The guy that Darcy punched,
Yeah.
that was the guy who handcuffed her.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's why he looks so familiar.
Yeah, Julie Almeida, Julie Bowen commenting on. Okay, that's great. Blah, blah, blah. I know I checked it. Hold on, give me a second. I'm sorry. I should have bookmarked it or something, but
That's all right.
dang it. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, on the mystery book in Agatha's basement in Doctor Strange, when Wong is showing Strange the library's restricted section, one of the books on the shelf of the advanced books, where the book on Dormammu is missing. Could be the potential Doctor Strange time for the multiverse of madness. Maybe it's the source of Agatha's powers. And I'm looking at a picture of it.
Yeah, me too.
And that book does look like it would fit in that library, I guess. I don't know, if that's what you would call it. But
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Maybe they definitely held a shot on that book. So I do think we'll get some more information on it for sure. My other theory here, or maybe it's confirmed. I don't know if people seem to be kind of split on this. Is that maybe Wanda, brought Vision here, but I'm not so sure she set up the reality itself or the TV aspect of it, because if you see when Agatha lands on the street, it's not black and white until everything starts turning black and white and changes to the 4:3 aspect ratio, and she turns to the camera and kind of winks or gives a shush signal there. So it definitely seems like Agnes is the one, or Agatha, whatever we want to call her now, is the one that kind of put those events in motion as well. As we see, she's also the one behind the camera, or I guess she was in charge of I don't know if she was actually behind the camera for each person or not, disguised as somebody else, or, it's implied that she's also the one that kind of set up the new look here. So it does make you wonder if maybe now she knows that outside people are watching, if she did stop the broadcast because she didn't want people to know how it's going inside as she starts to make her power play here and reveal that she's the one behind it.
I'm like I said, I don't have knowledge of the comics. I don't know what to expect. I don't know who some of these people are, but I'm just loving this. I'm loving the fact that this person was right in front of us the whole time. So I did see from a couple people who watched it who said they didn't enjoy this episode because if you didn't have any knowledge of the comics and who Agatha Harkness is and everything, you'd probably just be sitting there saying, what's going on? Who is this person?
I think they pretty much explain it really well in here.
Well, but so you know who she is because you have knowledge of the comics and everything.
But here's the thing. I've never read a story with Agatha Harkness in it. So, I know who she is, but, I'm not super familiar with her. Yeah.
But at least you have knowledge of who she is. And in the comics she plays some sort of part. But now you're just, for the average person who might not have any knowledge of it, I can see why they would say they didn't enjoy that one. But I'm not in that situation, and I really liked it because this person was there in front of us.
Yeah, the thing is, they've been building her up. She's been there, but also, do you need to have knowledge of Agatha Harkness? She says her name, so that way you know who she is. You can go Google it if you want, but otherwise, they're probably going to explain more of this next week, I would think. Her connection to Wanda, why she came here, I'm assuming all that stuff is going to have to be explained. And I think maybe people are a little too quick to push the panic button on this show at times.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm not saying, like I said, I don't agree with it, but I can understand why some people would kind of maybe.
I mean, for me, it's the same way that, like, okay, in Winter Soldier, you know, they're stopping the things from, you know, killing all these people on the list. They mentioned Stephen Strange, who becomes Doctor Strange, but, like, it's a throwaway line. Like, in this case, she's just introducing who she is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if anybody out there actually is that confused from it, just give it the next 2 weeks. They're going to explain who she is. But, you know, she was just telling Wanda, I'm Agatha Harkness. I'm not Agnes. I'm a magical person too. And that's all you need to know about her. Her role in the comics is actually more of a mentor to Wanda. She's never really been an antagonist to her. So we'll see if that changes with this episode, I guess, with this show. So really, not everybody is ahead of the game knowing who she is either. So we're waiting to see if there's a bigger bad behind her, or if this is the big bad and they've kind of changed her role in this universe than what she usually is.
I don't know if they've done that with some of the characters and throughout all of the MCU.
Yeah, they have a bit. They've changed, like, you know, in Ant-Man and the Wasp, that villain is not always an Ant-Man villain. They've been villains of other people, and they've kind of mix and match those at times.
But I would like to see, I would definitely like to see more, and I would like to see Catherine Hahn take this character either in her own series or on the big screen for sure.
Oh yeah, don't kill her off, please. Do not kill her.
That would be my big worry, was that, like, somewhere at the end of this season or the end of this series, that would be it, because that would be such a shame.
It would be. I'm hoping that's not the case. I do think maybe if they go the route of her not being the big bad, she will, you know, maybe she is kind of bad and she has an ulterior motive here, right? But I think that whatever it is, she's angling for something, right? She wanted the kids originally for something, you know, for the children. She's the one that talks about preheating Wanda's oven in the first episode, which, you know, usually you have buns in the oven, right? She's trying to get her to seduce Vision in that first episode.
I didn't even think about that.
So for some reason she needs these kids, which why I think that they might still be real and she might need them for something. Maybe they are in the basement trapped in one of those doors over there or something. But maybe she's also, you know, like I said, like we said, she killed Sparky, but I think that was to try to get Wanda to prove that she can bring somebody back. You know, and Wanda refuses, and I think it kind of throws her off there. So I'm not really sure what Agatha's endgame is here, what her purpose is, how she figured out about Wanda bringing Vision back, and what's her play here. Does she know Wanda actually from before this? A lot of times in Agatha's story, she knew Wanda for a long time, because Agatha dates back to the Salem witch trials. But maybe Wanda doesn't remember either, because remember, Wanda says she doesn't even remember how this all started. So maybe there's some sort of connection here we're still going to be introduced to.
This also makes me wonder, going back to last week or the week before, where she kind of like cut the scene, where she's like, you're like, when
oh yeah, do you want me to take it from the top or whatever?
Yeah, you want to do that again? You want to take it from the top? That kind of makes me wonder, like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, what was she doing with Herb? You know, like, we see her in the Agatha all along kind of touch him, and he kind of gets out of it, and I guess that's when he goes through the fence, you know, like when he's cutting through the brick. But she also has a conversation with him at that point, and he seems aware that they're trapped, and she's like, don't say it. She was definitely playing a role there, but I'm trying to figure out, is that what she did? Was she planting that in him to make him say those things to kind of put Vision on some sort of track for this?
So I have a really wild conspiracy theory here. Maybe
Shoot.
Herb is Mephisto, because Herb seems to, from what we gather, Herb seems to have a lot more knowledge of what's going on. Herb made the comment last week, hey, do you want me to change anything? Do you need anything changed? That's not something any normal person would say. That's not something anyone would say unless they had knowledge that there was some weird things going on that can change and everything. Maybe Herb is not who he says he is as well.
It's interesting. Could be. The only thing I would say maybe doesn't hold up with that is the fact it looks like she took control of him in this, and I don't think if he really was Mephisto, I don't think she'd be able to. But he might definitely be some sort of player in this. You know, I can't believe we only have 2 episodes left. This has just been so much fun to to do weekly here, and I can't believe it's already almost at an end.
I know. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this one all over again. Hopefully, like one of those days where I'm off, where I can spend like a couple hours and watch all of them back to back and see what I can put together.
Yeah, if the last 2 episodes are not like an hour each, this is actually less than 6 hours. It'll probably be close to 4.5 to 5 hours, and from there, that's almost like I've watched Infinity War and Endgame back to back, and that's about 5.5 to 6. So,
Dude,
definitely.
I remember I was in Bosnia, and this was 2000, I think. I have the Nightmare on Elm Street DVD box set, and I binged all of those back to back, with the exceptions of like getting up to go use the bathroom and like go grab something to eat. So I think I did like a 10 or 12 hour like binge with that one.
Wow. And I totally misheard you at first and thought you said Nightmare Before Christmas, and I was like, that's only one movie. Like, what? I was so thrown off there, but you said Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I get that about wraps us up here. Do you have any other theories or anything else you want to share before we wrap it up?
No, I just know all of my theories are probably way wrong, and I'm way off on all this. But that's okay. That's part of the fun of it, is coming up with some wacky things that aren't real, and then sitting there the next Friday, finding my mind blown and saying, I didn't see that one coming.
I feel you there. I didn't bite as much as you did on that Agnes misdirect last week, I don't think, but I was still kind of suspicious of her. But most people kind of put together, if most of the fans out there that know who Agatha was kind of put it together again. Agnes, Agatha, Harkness, people were able to kind of put that together, but I didn't think it would kind of get this dark. It was kind of creepy, Wanda walking down there looking for her children. I thought, if anything, Agnes or Agatha would be kind of wanting to help Wanda, and maybe that's still the case, but this doesn't seem to be going that way. So I'm not really sure. But if anybody out there has any theories that they want to share with us, you can reach us by emailing us marvelplusrecaps@gmail.com. Twitter, to Infinity Saga. That's the @ TO Infinity Saga. Facebook.com/Infinity Saga Beyond. And that's it. So go ahead and send us your theories, and we would love to read some on air next week before the finale, if anybody sends those through. But we will catch you all next week, where we break down episode 8, the penultimate episode of WandaVision.